Rorters are on notice. For too long, they've been using the NDIS to line their own pockets, while people living with a disability and their carers are shortchanged. Now, families say time is up for the fraudsters.
Oh! Ta-da! Hi!
Jocelyn Plankhurst's only child, Warwick, has arrived home.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Good. Warwick has cerebral palsy. He was born with that, and he's also blind, and he has epilepsy and asthma, and he's intellectually a child.
She cares for 40-year-old Warwick on her own after her husband walked out when he was born.
You know, you just got to do what you've got to do, and like Warwick's adorable, and I need him as much as he needs me, really, because he's my companion, and I want to just do everything for him. That's it.
And so she does.
No swimming today?
No.
Day and night.
Jocelyn, you have to do all the lifting.
Well, yes, because
Very
there's
difficult.
no one else here.
There's no one else here, no.
That's why I want him to have the physio all the time. If he can stand on his feet, I don't have to lift a refrigerator, you know, type
You're
of thing.
remarkable because you're going to be 80 years old next year.
Next year.
So when the NDIS came in, her life became a little easier and Warwick's became more joyful.
He goes to swimming on a Thursday and bowling on a Friday and whatever else programs that they run. And it's important for him to be acknowledged and stimulated with services and company.
But Warwick's funding allocation ran out last year and services stopped for 2 months. Jocelyn and others in a similar situation put the blame squarely on some providers rorting the system.
As soon as they hear that it's an NDIS recipient, suddenly everything's twice the price or 3 times the price, and you hear it all the time. But the thing that bugs me is the paying for services that you don't get or that they can't provide.
When Warwick caught COVID, she gave her provider a week's notice, but
then I get a bill to say you have to pay for all of this time that it was off, that he wasn't in the program. That, to me, is rorting. You can't be paid for what you don't do.
she faces the same problems constantly when she books occasional respite care and Warwick suddenly falls ill.
They're disabled children. They have all sorts of problems.
How much would that cost you?
Well, it's up to $3,000 a weekend.
And that comes out of your NDIS budget.
It comes out of his funding.
And when it comes to desperate work,
it just fits through.
like a bathroom door to be widened so his chair can fit in, well, the delays are backbreaking.
How long have you been waiting for this
About 2 years now.
2 years.
And it's still not approved yet.
Stories like this have prompted NDIS Minister Bill Shorten to reform the scheme and crack down on overcharging and dodgy providers.
It is unacceptable that vulnerable people find this mess almost impossible to navigate and feel sometimes totally abandoned by the scheme.
There are big problems.
The shake-up can't come soon enough for Charles Leslie, who was a victim of child sexual abuse.
I was a little drummer boy, and this guy was a pipe tutor at the pipe band, and over 4 years he convinced me that this is what adults and children do.
For much of his life he was homeless. Now he has a roof over his head and receives NDIS support for mental health issues.
First thing was a psychologist and a psychiatrist and physiotherapy and a carer.
The NDIS for you, Charles, was a good thing.
It was great, mate. It was absolutely marvellous.
But Charles's fund suddenly ran out early, and being savvy on a computer, he delved in to check his NDIS account.
And I was furious. I was seeing invoices from people I'd never heard of. One of them invoiced me for over 12 months for care.
And Charles, you never used those services.
Transport and access community services and kilometres. The service was never provided.
His former provider was taking the money out of
My fund, yeah, came all out of my fund.
If it's happening to him, what's going on to all those people who aren't able to access their account, he asks.
These people don't know, Brady. They have no idea how to access that plan. They can't look at the dashboard because some of them are profoundly disabled.
All Australians support the NDIS. After all, an accident could mean any of us have to access it one day. But recipients say rorting is not only ripping them off, but the taxpayers who fund the scheme.
They should regulate these bloody providers.
In the meantime, those who need it most are suffering.
People who are rorting, this is the thing that makes me so mad, because there's really needing people. Oh, hands up who loves their mum.
And we love you too, that's wonderful.